What is good, NIO family? It's Rey-Jay back with another video, and in this one I'm going to be talking about the one and only NIO stock, what you should be looking after for the future, and what just came out from the federal funds meeting, the big FOMC meeting with the minutes being released, what they actually said about it, and how this may affect NIO for the future. Now, before I break anything down about NIO, before I talk about why NIO does have the potential to continue pumping to the upside now after what the Fed just did, I do have to mention a couple of things before I say anything. Firstly, I'm not a financial planner, so don't take any of this as financial advice whatsoever. And also, if you guys can, please smash the like button if you want to see more videos like this. It not only benefits me, it benefits the entire New York community as a whole. And the last things, if you guys can, please check out the Webull link down below and in the description. If you sign up for Webull, the link down below, and deposit any amount of money into the account, you're guaranteed up to 12 free stocks, each worth up to $2,000. The best part is any could be a free NIO share, a free Tesla share, or a mix of all of them. It's a limited time offer. The offer ends in a week, so check it out before they run out. We have less than 7 days left. Now, looking at NIO, however, I want to note something very important. All right. NIO is up about 5% for the day. That's a good sign. However, when it comes to the way NIO is moving, we also have to look at the overall market. And I believe the market is going to continue pumping. And I believe this is going to help NIO push all the way up past $11 very soon and retest, maybe get very close to that $12 mark. I believe NIO is going to do that. Now, why do I think this? And I'm kind of talking about the next upcoming trading days, the next like few weeks, a week or two away. I'm not just talking about Friday, but for Friday, I expect something similar, another push to the upside and some sideways action. I'm going to show you exactly why as well for Friday. Now, what's going on with the market right now? What's going on with the Fed? The Fed released their minutes. What this essentially means is they gave us a good summary of the FOMC meeting from the 1st to 2nd of November, but everything was on paper. The Fed also have changed some of their anticipations for the markets, their anticipations of policy, and that in turn it did affect the way the market moved. The first thing that's not as great for the markets for the longer term is going to be the fact that the Fed is going to be raising the federal funds rate even more overall than anticipated. This is known as the terminal rate. Before they were saying they're going to give us like 5% or so. Now they're saying it's going to be like 5.5%. All this means is the Fed is likely going to raise rates or give us more rate hikes than before. It does not mean every single one of those rate hikes has to be extreme. It just means they're going to give us more than before, even going into 2023. However, the reason the market is pumping and the reason why it's going to continue to pump, in my opinion, is because of something else they stated. They mentioned, and this is what's making the headlines, the next rate hike is going to be smaller than some of the bears, some of the other critics were anticipating. They're basically saying they're almost completely fixated on giving us a 50 basis point rate hike for December. And the market likes certainty. That's a good sign for the markets because the market likes this. This is good for the bulls, and they are really going to capitalize on this. This means that the Fed is going to just give us 50 basis points for December, and then there won't be another rate hike until I think like January or maybe a little later. I'll have to double check on that. But that's good for the markets for the short term because we're anticipating this. We almost fully priced it in before. I think we already fully priced it in. The market is ready for it. And now we have certainty. And this is likely going to help the market pump. For Friday now, I'm going to talk more about Friday and less about the medium term. For Friday, we have a 2.03 put to call ratio. And I was mentioning this in my previous videos. As you guys know, people are over leveraged on the put side. And if that happens, the opposite tends to end up coming into fruition because what happens is when everyone is trying to short the market is likely not going to like fall and make everyone millionaires. That's not how the market works. The market makers are likely going to keep the market up to cause pain for those people so they don't have to pay off those options, the premiums of them. So my point is, the majority of investors were betting, oh, the market's going to crash for Friday of this week. The market's going to come down. The majority of them, we have a 2-to-1 put to call ratio. And what happened? It turns out the market's pumping and those people buying the puts are getting destroyed, unfortunately for them. What else is interesting is if we look at some options data, you guys could see the majority of people, some people are buying longer term puts, but the majority of them are actually loading up on those calls on SPY and other plays like that. So we're starting to see lots of puts getting closed for the super, super short term. We are seeing put buying for the longer term because, like I said before, guys, the market is not going to like pump up forever. Eventually, we are going to see a rejection. I'm going to talk about that in just a couple of minutes, though. It's going to make a lot more sense. And then for NIO, what does this all mean? If the market continues to pump, when the market pumps, NIO does tend to actually pump with the market. Is NIO perfect? The answer is no. It doesn't always do it perfectly, but I do believe this could actually help NIO to some degree because we are starting to see the price pairs ratio stagnate right here, which is a sign that NIO should actually see some strength. Deutsche Bank is bullish on NIO. You know what happened the last time they said this? They gave NIO a buy rating. NIO made a big move to the upside. So I mean, correlation does not mean causation, but I'm just trying to put it out there. This could be a good sign for NIO. For the overall trends that we are seeing, NIO is green 53% of the time on Fridays, and over 55% of November's are bullish months for NIO. That's a good sign historically. And considering the fact that the Fed may give us a 50 basis point rate hike, the market knows this. I think we're likely going to see a continuation of the bullish pump going into Friday. Because remember, the market's closed on Thursday in the USA. But I'm talking about Friday. I think it's going to help NIO pump. Not to mention for next week, I think we still have more room to just pump and hold these higher levels. On top of that, the short interest has been downtrending on NIO. We're starting to see some shorts cover. Once again, another bullish sign. So what's going on with the market? All right, first let's look at SPY. As you guys could see, SPY is respecting this broadening descending wedge. Now, what else is really good about it is there have been many rejections off the upper trend line. So we have one rejection here, we come down, we push up, we have another rejection, we come all the way down, we push up, another rejection, we come down, and it looks like we're about to push up and maybe get rejected. So this is part of the reason why there are some institutions buying puts for the longer term, because they do believe we're going to come to these levels and then see rejections. And they don't just like buy everything at the top, they like to dollar cost average. So that's the reason why a rejection will likely come. But until the rejection comes over the next like couple of weeks, until then, we have room for upside. It looks like SPY is going to keep pushing. All right. And we also have this gap around this like 407 level. I could see SPY hitting that. 408 is what my target is on SPY. Maybe for next week, we could see that. Maybe as soon as Friday. It's a little bit hard to tell for Friday because Friday is going to be a very short day. The market's only going to be open for a couple of hours. We're not going to see too much after that. So I just wanted to put that out there. So if we do push here, we might like kind of downtrend once we start respecting and fighting this zone. And then, depending on CPI and other factors, the market is likely going to make a completely different move. Now, the last thing I wanted to talk about would be how this affects NIO before I end this video. For the short term, let me use the 30-minute candles. Notice how there's a downtrend being respected. A very nice looking downtrend, right? And NIO has a tendency of testing these upper levels right here during many, many instances. So what I'm expecting is I believe NIO is going to get a nice push and retest the upper trend line very soon, hitting the mid $11 range. And until then, what I'm essentially seeing is this nice inverse head and shoulders like formation that formed. I think NIO is going to start pumping. Slowly, it's going to pump. I don't know if it's going to happen as soon as like Friday. I mean, maybe we get a huge move on Friday, but I'm not counting on it being that huge. I would say more towards next week. NIO should pump. We're going to test resistance at 11.25, and I think we're going to break it. Either on Friday we break it or next week and we go for the gap fill, hitting 11.5-ish around there. Then we push and we end up retesting, the upper trend line. And then we might slowly kind of trade sideways in this upper range, maybe come down a bit. And who knows, maybe we break past it just temporarily, because there was an instance where we did that. Temporarily we break past it before we come down again with the overall market, maybe sometime in December. But like I said, guys, it's looking pretty good right now. It looks like NIO has a nice move to come. So I want to focus more on that and less on the rejection. But like I said, it looks more bullish than bearish. And for Friday, I'm expecting NIO to push up a bit, but maybe hold these levels at the very least, because I don't expect Friday to be a crazy bullish day. The market's only open for a few hours. There are going to be lots of profit takers. But for the next week, I'm much more bullish. All right, guys. So anyways, thank you all for listening. Remember, the market's closed tomorrow, which is Thursday, for Thanksgiving. I'm going to give you guys a message about Thanksgiving too for tomorrow. So thank you all for listening. Be ready, and I'll see you guys in the next one. NIO to the moon, because the long-term future is still incredibly bright, and peace out.